Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So a few weeks or a few days ago, I generally can't remember because my brain is a little bit mush at the moment because I'm currently almost 3 weeks out. So I'm so excited for competing season of 2019, like honestly I cannot wait. But today isn't about me, today is about answering your questions. I have a lot of good ones. I put on my story a few weeks or days ago that I wanted to start doing Q&As once a month on my YouTube channel and being very open and honest about it as well. I don't want to do Q&As like what's your favourite protein, what's your favourite glute exercise, like I don't want to do questions like that. I want to be completely open and honest with you guys because there's a lot of mental questions about competing, about training, dieting, all of that type of thing that you guys want to know the answers from me. So that's what I'm going to be doing with these Q&As and this is the first one. So I'm going to go literally straight into it. You guys have given me some, I mean, when I said I wanted to be open and honest, I mean, you guys didn't hold back like whatsoever. First question is, how does prep affect your sex drive? That's the first one. First question straight up, like literally within the first 5 minutes. Obviously when you are leaning down to a stage lean physique, your hormones can get affected a little bit, and obviously for guys it's a little bit different because they have a larger amount of testosterone. Women don't have a large amount of testosterone within their body, which is a sex hormone. When I am typically on prep, when I get closer to show date and the leaner I get, I typically don't have much of a sex drive. I know a lot of women that do have sex drives when they are in prep, but I particularly don't. I think it depends on the person, obviously you are, how lean you actually get within your prep and all of that type of thing, and it's not a massive thing that when you are on prep your sex drive will go. That's not a given. It like I said, it's different to everyone, but that is one of the most common things that does get knocked or does happen within a prep sometimes. Transitioning from toned figure to bikini, tips on training variations. So I would say typically if you're going down from figure to bikini, then your training might change in terms of like I train with figure girls like a lot of the time, so exercise wise didn't change much. It might just be a little bit different, like you might be holding a little bit more muscle mass than a bikini girl should, so you might not be strength training or progressive overloading as much as you were when you were a figure girl. So I think maybe monetizing your training in terms of what you're lifting, like how heavy you're lifting, just so you make sure you don't put on any extra muscle that you don't actually need in bikini. Does having tattoos take off points in IFBB? I have never had any feedback that my tattoos have been an issue. The only time I would say tattoos would ever be an issue is if it was physically covering like a muscle. So if you had a massive sleeve all up your arm and it was covering your shoulders and the judges can't see your shoulders, or if you had a tattoo all over your stomach and you can't see your ab definition, or all over your back and you can't see your back definition, that's the only when I would think the judges would say those are the points down because I can't physically see your muscle. So that's one I would say the judges would give you maybe points off. How long is your prep been? So my prep has been 12 weeks, which is quite short for a prep, and like I've said in a few of my videos before, I had a lot better starting point this year. I was 13 pounds lighter this year starting my prep than I was last year, so I'm really happy with that. If you want to watch my video on starting points from preps to off seasons and stuff, please go and check that video out. How do you have such good grip? I saw you RDLing 50 kgs in each hand. So I have something called hook grips, and I'll put a picture on the screen for you now, and they are amazing. This isn't even a sponsored post, I literally got them and they were like £12.99. They are so cheap and they're really good, and for me I have really bad grip, and these have literally been a lifesaver for when I've been doing RDLs. Decreasing calories on off days. So yes, I do decrease my calories on rest days purely because I'm resting, so I don't need as many calories. Yes, I do need calories to recover, but I don't think I need as many calories on a rest day as I do when I'm in training, because you're not moving as much, you're not giving as much throughout that day. You need your calories more on the days that you need them in terms of like training, when you're moving, doing more things, than a rest day in my opinion. Typical HIIT cardio. So at the moment, I did used to do bodyweight exercises for HIIT cardio because I really enjoyed like pushing myself through, but now currently almost 3 weeks out, I'm finding it very hard to push myself and my body to go the same intensity throughout that whole exercise. So I now do sprints on the treadmill or the Stairmaster, because I know, the thing is, the reason I rely on a machine, because I know that intensity is going to be the same every time, and I can't physically slow down, and I won't physically push that button down to go any lower to make it easier. But I know with bodyweight exercises, if you say in your head, I'm tired, it's easier for you to slow down or easy to stop. So for me, that's why I've transitioned to do machine cardio. What do you carb load on? So carb loading is filling out your muscles nearer you get to show day. So usually, typically, it would be on peak week. For people that don't know what carb loading is, last year I carb loaded on cereal and potato and jam, but this year I don't know, because for the last 5 weeks I've been on a ketogenic style of dieting. So I have had no carbs for the last 5 weeks. I've just been having fats and protein. So I don't know what carbs I'm going to kind of have, and that is actually going to be something very interesting for me to kind of see what my body actually responds to well. How do you manage not to hate your body after a show? So this is something actually that I struggled with in my first year of competing. So first year of competing, not massively, but when you come out of a show, it is very difficult to accept coming out of a show, accept putting on body fat, accept not looking as lean. But what you've got to remember is stage lean will never ever be maintainable, so you have to remember that, and that's the first point in not hating your body. But you will be able to maintain a good lean physique. So reversing out of a show day plan is vital in my opinion. I did this last year, and the funny thing is, 2 years ago I wasn't a massive fan of reversing, because I physically couldn't stick to it. And that's why I couldn't do it. I couldn't stick to a reverse diet after shows. So I would just go to maintenance, because I liked having that food, and I didn't massively care what I looked like. I just wanted energy more than anything. So, and I didn't mind putting on body fat. But for anyone that is not wanting to put on a load of weight so quickly, I would say reverse dieting is your best option. Have you ever experienced an eating disorder? No, I haven't. I've never had, and the funny thing is, I've never understood them fully, if that makes sense, because I've never had one. I get them, I get it, but the way I look at food and my relationship with food is very, very good, in terms of I don't get how people would feel guilty eating foods that they are allowed, if that makes sense. My mindset towards food is, it's food, you eat it, and kind of that's it. It fuels you for your day, your sessions, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good because you're eating food that you like. This is something that I didn't get what it meant for a long time, and when I kind of came into the industry, I kind of understood them a little bit more. I met people that had stories that had eating disorders, and I slowly started to understand it a little bit more. But for me, I've never had a problem in terms of food. Is food. Food is there to fuel you. Food is your friend, and food is there to make you feel good, not to make you feel bad or guilty or in any way, shape or form. And that's, obviously I'm not a doctor, I'm not anything like that, so, but if anyone is watching this with either an eating disorder or that, just remember that, or even with anyone without an eating disorder, just remember that, because food isn't there to harm you. Food is there to help you throughout your life, and that's the way I see it, and that's why I've never really understood obviously eating disorders and stuff like that, but I do understand that it is going on. Would you ever consider going into figure, or will you always stay a bikini girl? So I did get a few questions on my last video as well, asking me if I was ever transitioning to figure. I will admit, I absolutely love the figure category, the fullness, the condition, the way they literally walk on stage not even looking that big, and they just open up with their posing, and just, oh my god, I love it. But I physically don't think I would want to go in that category. I want to arrive in the bikini category first, and then if it got to the point where I was like, I physically cannot be a bikini anymore, then I would possibly go into figure. But I have no desire to go into figure. I absolutely appreciate the work the figure girls put in, and they look insane, but I would love to stick to bikini. I love the overall category of what bikini brings. I love the overall, like, holding muscle but not too much muscle. I just love bikini. What are your shows you're planning to do this year? So I am planning, at the moment I have the Big Man Weekender in Alicante in 3 weeks time, and then after that I have possibly 3 back-to-back shows. One of them I have already sent the contract off to, and 2 of them are currently in the works, but I will not announce any of that until after my show that I've just done, because I like to focus on each show as it comes, because that's just the way I like to do things when it comes to competing. I don't want to focus too much on like other shows. I like to focus on the ones that I'm doing at the moment, and then I'll move on. Tips for a first-time bikini competitor. Like, so many questions that have been asked about that, and I will say enjoy every bit of your journey, okay? Enjoy your cardio, enjoy your training, enjoy your food that you're eating, enjoy the people you're sharing your journey with, okay? Because it is a large amount of your life that you have to dedicate yourself to. And a lot of people will just say, yeah, I want to go into a prep, and they absolutely hate the entire process because they really don't like dieting or training or doing the cardio, and they will moan. No, embrace every single bit of that journey. Let it grow you into a stronger, dedicated person. That is my biggest tip for a first-time competitor. Focus on enjoying the process. How do you handle temptations when your boyfriend is eating cookies, cakes, and whatever he wants? Haha. So I'm a weirdo as well, because I actually feed him that stuff. Like, if I crave pizza, I'm like, what are you having tonight? Do you want some pizza tonight? Because I want pizza tonight. I mean, I'm not exactly gonna force him if he doesn't want pizza, but like, I don't mind being around that food that I can't have because I have a goal in mind, you know? Like, it's my choice, it wasn't his choice, and he always says sorry as well. Like, every time he orders something, he says sorry, and I'm like, you don't have to say sorry, because this was my choice to not be able to have those foods, and I can have those foods whenever I want if I wanted to. I mean, I could shoot on my diet tomorrow and have a pizza if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. And I never make anyone feel guilty for what I can't have. So that's always in the back of my head constantly. So, and again, if anyone thinks that as well, make sure that you do not make anyone feel guilty for what you have put yourself through, because it's your choice. Did you find coming out of your first prep have a negative impact on your relationship with food? So, like I said before, I've always had a very good relationship with food. So when I came out of it, I kind of ate whatever I wanted, and it didn't make me feel guilty. It didn't have a negative impact on my relationship with food, and the way I kind of did that was because I looked at food as, okay, I'm gonna have a little bit of that chocolate, I'm not gonna have the whole thing though. And that's the way I always look at food anyway. When I'm not competing or not prepping, I will always look at food that way. I will look at food as, that's not off limits, unless I'm in prep obviously, but that food isn't off limits. Nothing is off limits for me. I can have a little bit of that, but not the whole thing. So everything in moderation for me, and that's the way I think about with all foods. So, again, this is only when I'm in off-season, not in prep. Prep is a different story. Have you ever felt pressured to get a breast enlargement because of competing? This is actually, I had a posing client mention this to me, and they felt a bit unconscious about the size of their breasts, and I totally relate to this, because a lot of the top level athletes have boob jobs, which is absolutely fine because that is their decision, and I do get it why girls do get breast enlargements, because when you are doing this much cardio, getting this lean and training like this, because boob is pretty much just fat, you can't pinpoint where you lose your fat from. So a lot of people do lose their boobs like completely, like, and I mean flat chested sometimes, and sometimes because they want to carry on their love for the competing world, but they feel unconscious because of their breasts, they get a boob job. Also because in everyday life, sometimes in their lifestyle, they don't feel very feminine in clothing they want to wear, or they don't feel girly because they don't have boobs, so they get a breast enlargement, and that's totally fine. And I do admit I have felt pressured in terms of like, do I get a boob job for competing? But this is the way I look at it. If I was to ever get a boob job because of competing, that's when I don't get it, because competing isn't forever. I would only ever get a boob job if I actually felt completely unconscious in the everyday life. That's when I'd get a boob job, if I felt like that. I don't currently feel like that, and the only reason I would ever get a boob job is for competing, but competing for me isn't forever. So I probably have a good maybe 15 years, maximum 15 years left, and for me, I don't think I would want boobs when I am older, so I'm not going to get them done. But I wouldn't say don't feel like you can't get them and don't feel like you have to get them, but make sure you're doing it for everyday life, not just competing. Have you experienced after any show going out off the radar on your diet? So yeah, like so much. I think my first season, when I was coming out of my shows, I would go crazy with food because this is the food that I couldn't have for a long time. So I would go crazy, but again, I never felt guilty for it. Like, I always look at food as fuel, so I never had that guilt feeling. Don't ever feel unnormal or not normal because you have gone off the radar with your food post-show, because everyone has been there, okay? It's what you do after that. Like I said before, we all learn from it, okay? We all make mistakes, but you can't be doing that every single day throughout your off season. You can't be overeating all the foods, any foods that you want in your entire off season, because you won't make any progress. So you have to make sure that you are smart with it. It is okay to have a few days where you overeat or have a few more foods that you would like to. You still have to carry on the habits into your off season that you did when you were on prep. So you can't just kind of go off the rails and eat whatever you like and have no structure whatsoever within your off season. You still have to have some sort of structure, in my opinion. Okay, sorry, my camera died, and actually this is the next day because I was really tired. I had to wait for the camera to charge and I fell asleep. So I'm going to carry on now. And the last question is, IFBB Pro would be my absolute dream. Do you have any tips on achieving this goal? No, I have absolutely no tips on how to become a professional athlete. A professional athlete is something you have to work fucking hard for, okay? I'm gonna tell you that now. It's taken me 3 years to get my IFBB Pro card, and that's actually quite a short time span. That I know people that have been trying to get their Pro card for 10 years and they've only just got it now, or they're still going for it. People I know that have been in the game for years are still trying to go out there and get their Pro card. So being a professional athlete, there is no tips or tricks on being a professional athlete. You just have to keep working fucking hard. It's almost like act like a professional athlete and you will reap the rewards sooner or later down the line, if that makes sense. So that is my last and final question. If I didn't answer your question today, guys, don't worry, I will be doing another one. And if you want me to answer any other questions, please comment down below. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this kind of style of video as well. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you soon.